Hello everyone, I'm Geetmala Sarkar and today we are here with day 2 of the Bluebird watercolor painting. So I will show you how my painting is. This is my painting and I have mixed a few colors here already, which are these. There are different kinds of blues which we will need to paint our bird, for which I have taken some light blue, which is cerulean blue. I have taken some phthalo blue also, some cobalt blue, and yesterday we had already mixed some French ultramarine blue. I also have taken some pink. You can even wet down the beak first and then start doing that. And at all times, keep your reference image in front of you. So we have wet down this beak and we are starting to paint it with, I'm using yellow. You can use any color, by the way. You can use blue, you can use green, red, and the upper beak I'm painting it after having painted the lower beak. That means by the time I'm reaching the upper beak, there is less paint on my brush, which is what I want because the lower beak is darker than the upper one. I'm just putting in small dashes when I'm doing this dark area, and I'm leaving lot of empty spaces also in between these small dashes. Feathering out the edges. So let's do the eye little bit. Now there is a small dot in the eye which is light bluish in color. Do not paint over that dot. Leave it as it is. I'm using green. We are only painting inside the eye right now. And we are also simultaneously painting the beak. If your beak is still drying up, then let it be. If it has completely dried, then go for another layer. We'll have to do layering again on top of this. Layering is done only when this previous layer is completely dry, so I need to wait for it to dry up completely. So in the meanwhile, I will start with the body of the bird. So when we are doing the body of the bird, we'll first wet its body. Take a relatively bigger brush. I am taking my size 8 brush. It is a blend brush. Blend brush is one which has a mix of both natural hair and synthetic hair, and wet it down with water. So when we are painting the feathers, we will first of all use very mild colors. You can use light red in a very mild consistency, water it down, and then we make curve like brush strokes. We do not just make a straight line, but For example, if you are touching the bird, how will your hand go? It will go from here to here and then it will curve down. So imagine that you are touching the bird like this. It is going a bit, there's a bulge over here, and then the bulge is reducing in this area. So create a bulge, reducing again a bulge for the belly, and it's moving inside. So this is how we will create the lines for the feathers. Not at all places. If I am here, for example, I can create relatively uh, straighter lines than a curved line. And once I have created this curved line, and the next round when we will do, I will slightly change its position and do something like this. Because one feather is on top of another feather. Also, depending on
Is
the
it like
size.
is it like comma?
Yeah, it is like comma. It is like C. It is like also an inverted C. I will show you once again. It is like a comma like, but it is not always very vertical. It is somewhat like a C. In the first
Okay.
go, we will leave some spaces in between. And in the first go, we will use a very pale wash. But I'm not, this we will do in some time. First, the area which you have wet down, you will take light pink. And if you have your reference image, you will be able to see that there is a pinkish color as well. So I have taken light pink. You can take, if you don't have pink, you can take some red. Okay, and I'll be making the marks. Sometimes you can even turn the bird upside down to see different shades and different colors. Like, for example, I have turned it upside down and I can see that the pink is more over here, as in lines. Can you see that? The curves are here.
Yes, yes,
So,
it is,
yeah,
but I think it's light purple.
keep spaces in between. And like I had said, to move your hand in the direction in which the bird's body is, do that. If you do that, you will get the curves also. After this, we will take some cerulean blue or light blue and make similar marks, leaving white spaces. Always put down the first time you take color where you see that it is the darkest because you have a fresh load of color on your brush. Similarly, we'll wet down the other side of the body. We create these marks which I see on the body of the bird. But I think my water is still a lot of water. Let me see. Yeah. So when you are putting down the water on the body, just remove your hand like a flick. Okay. One and one flick. If it is longer, then take it off on a tissue paper. Like this. Small flicks. Okay. Small flicks. Small flicks. In the lower section, do not make it very much curved because some of the bird feathers are going vertical also in this border area. Some of the bird feathers will go vertical also in this or outward towards the greenery. It may not show very clearly right now on the laptop or wherever you are watching, but once we gradually go darker, you will be able to see it. With the two. And yesterday I had said that you can paint in a yellow over the feet. So if you haven't, you can do it now with me because I have to do for the other feet. Yesterday we did just one pale yellow over the other feet of the bird. Now let's take some gray color. We had mixed gray yesterday with another wash of clean water over it. And pick up some grays in your brush, on your brush. You can wet it down. So I will thin it down with some water. When you're doing this leg, the part which will go up into the body of the bird, that looks a bit hazy. It is not very clear. So we will just apply some, after having applied color, we will just apply a small little bit of water over here so that it can appear hazy. I've taken some red, and it is not red on the peach there, but I could see some red here. So not a problem. We can take some of our gray. We can bring it down. This red gray, merge with the gray. Now I'm trying to make, even though my drawing is not perfect over here, I'm trying to make these areas darker and lighter as well, depending on how I can see my reference image. So we've partly done our peach, and the next time we will need to go darker when we are doing the same area, which needs to settle down. The paint needs to settle down. Chinese calligraphy brush, it allows you to make very good feathers. And when you use this in the same process in which I demonstrated earlier, this Chinese calligraphy brush will not let you put a brush stroke where it will not look very thick. Of course, you have to take the paint and roll it on your palette to make a point. If there is still more water, just dab it a bit like this. If you use this, you can make very nice, accurate. Take the help of your pencil lines as well to create a bulge where there is a bulge. If you have done a good drawing, then you will landing at a very good place when creating these feathers. That, however, does not mean we will alter the lines drastically. We don't want to alter the lines we have drawn drastically, but in order to show that the body is covered with feathers, we can alter the direction little bit because one feather could be overlapping another feather as well. Initially, keep spaces, leave white spaces, and then do that. This will take a lot of time, so we need to have patience. Keep dried out. So we'll do another layer on the feet using a gray color, and we already put yellow on it, so we can understand where we don't have to go darker. So the pale sections of the feet, we want to keep it pale only because that will allow the shine to happen, the lighter sections. Then as we go towards where the feet is meeting the body, bird's belly, over there we will not paint straight black. We will just diffuse it by adding some water from the table. Then we are painting blue area. For example, we'll be painting this blue area, and when we have various shades of blue, how do we know that what blue we can go with? For that reason, we need a grayscale image. The grayscale image will paint the darker areas first, okay, in the direction of the lines meaning the feather of the bird in this area. In that direction, you paint the darkest area. Then you see that there is a lighter area which will be here, and then it is again darker over here, but not as dark as the area in here. Another section, leave white spaces. And then on top of that, we will use the other colors as well. Darker blues, I mean. So see here, I've put a lot of paint, so I'll just take it off with a tissue paper. This area is still wet, and there was this ring around the eye. Okay. And we can go even down. This section will be the darkest area. We can even do this the way we have done the belly first two layers. We can do the same thing over here also. Okay. Okay. So in this section of the eye, there's this ring, which is a darker shade. I'm just layering it so that it looks darker. Then I think there is this shade that looks darker over here. This shape. There's a shape here also. We can take a darker color as well. I wanted to share. Sometimes our hand doesn't work in one particular direction. Okay, at that time, you can always tilt your paper like this and work towards making small circular seed-like structures. You don't have to think that, oh, I cannot do that structure. You can always give the truth. And at that time, it was very important to take this reference image also in the same direction so that when you see here and you don't know what to put, you can check from your reference and you will know what to put. Also, after after an hour of painting, you can look at your entire painting from a distance so that you can understand that how much you need to where you are going right and where you are going wrong. You will be able to understand that. Thing, dark gray here. So I think we will call it a day today. And I want you to, since we have covered a lot of the bird today, and I think I have touched upon most of the sections, but then I would like you to do one or I think two layers of paint on all over the bird.